Hello everyone, Alan Isfan here, engineer and tech entrepreneur. I'm out here in the snow to clear my mind and to meditate. I thought I'd stop for a few minutes to share a message with my fellow entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur trying to make the world a better place for yourself and for those around you, I love you. I know that's kind of mushy, but I don't care. I want you to win without suffering in the process. It doesn't mean entrepreneurship will ever be easy, but there are daily habits that can make all the difference. Things like meditation, gratitude, sleep, diet, and daily discipline that are all geared to help you achieve success with less stress and suffering than you're probably experiencing right now. After over 20 years building and advising startups, I've developed my own framework and I'm sharing as much as I possibly can in a 90-minute webinar that is totally free. Please visit maximum-impact.co/webinar for more details. I'll see you soon.
Welcome to Maximum Impact with my guest, Alan Isfan. Wait, what? Well, that's me. Well, hey, it was time for a solo round. It's been a long time. In this episode, I'm going to share a bit of personal news about the podcast, and then I'll share the 5 habits I developed to keep stress low, gain a ton of energy, and achieve clarity so I can take massive action. I've been dying to post more content, especially since I joined C-Suite Radio. But creating podcasts just takes a long time, and I realized I needed help if I was going to step it up. So I drafted my 18-year-old daughter, Caitlin Isfan, to help produce and edit the show. She's studying music production and loves to perfect the sound, getting rid of awkward silences and verbal tics like ums. Sorry, Caitlin, I'm really working on it. If you've been a listener for a while, you probably noticed that the quality's gone way up, starting with the Per Bristow episode and stepping it up even more with the Big Sweet episode and the Jason Flick episode I just posted. Not only did I not have to edit those episodes myself, but they sound way better. I'm not stopping there. I'm going to step it up with even more content like short videos, more images, and just getting more serious with Instagram, Twitter, and probably even Snapchat. Finally figuring that one out. My wife has created the foundation of the new Maximum Impact brand that you probably noticed and is ramping up my 20-year-old daughter, Kira Isfan, to handle all graphics and social media uploads for Maximum Impact Podcast. In fact, some of the latest podcasts were uploaded by Kira. So how about my 16-year-old Madison? Well, she's learning to code, and I have a special project for her too as soon as she's ready. More about that in a few months. This is a family company. All right, enough with the news. Let's get into the meat. Today I want to talk about the 5 crucial habits to help entrepreneurs lower stress, gain energy and clarity so they can take massive action. This is actually the foundation of my Clear Map framework, which I'll tell you a bit more about in a future episode. Look, I wish there was just one habit that would magically make all the difference, but at least for myself, I found that it's really about combining some of these key habits that really makes a difference. You kind of get an exponential benefit by doing that. Now, I first learned about this when I got super sick. I haven't talked about this very much, but let me share a bit of a story with you. Ironically, it's also when I got my superpowers. Now, I didn't get stung by a spider. It was something much more boring. For some completely unexplained reason, I developed an autoimmune disease called myasthenia gravis. It was about 20 years ago, and my high school sweetheart, and now my wife, was very pregnant with our first daughter, Kira. I could barely walk, swallow, or hold a fork. How the hell was I going to provide for a new baby, never mind provide for a family? It was freaking scary. I pulled out all the stops and changed my habits radically. Between that and a pretty risky medical procedure, I was almost 100% recovered when Kira was born just a few months later. My doctors couldn't believe it. They'd never seen anything like it. And I realized at that point that mindset and just deciding you're going to make something happen can be magical. The only reminders of that scary time is a nasty scar down my chest, some powerful habits, and a mindset that I consider to be a superpower that I probably would not have developed otherwise. Sometimes when bad things happen, you can turn them into good. Unfortunately, some of these habits kind of faded away as I recovered and launched myself into various projects and businesses. And I kept pretty busy, and everything was great until I launched my own startup and bootstrapped it. You know how people on the outside think of business travel as romantic and adventurous? Well, if you've traveled for business, you know it's anything but that. It's often stressful and it's exciting. You eat poorly, you don't sleep well. Starting your business is very much like that. It looks romantic from the outside, but from the inside, it can be pretty tough. You walk around stressed, exhausted, and in a fog. Then you're expected to make big, bold decisions with clarity and take over the world. And yet, if you don't, you're dead, especially in technology. I mean, it just moves so fast, there's just no time to coast. When I got stuck in this vortex a few years ago, I was just exhausted, stressed, my health was poor. I just knew I had to do something different. And so I thought back to a time when massive stress, fear, bad sleep, and poor health was really affecting me 20 years ago, the story I just told you. So I decided to apply those same lessons. And the transformation has been absolutely incredible. So with all that, let me share the habits that have helped me so much, and I know they've helped a lot of entrepreneurs as well. So I'm going to go through them quickly and then deep dive. Please stick around till the end since I'm going to announce my very first webinar on the topic. Let's go. Number 1, meditation. Number 2, gratitude. Number 3, diet and exercise. Number 4, sleep. Number 5, planning and developing daily rituals to make the habits stick. Let's dive a little deeper. Number 1, meditation. Now, before I get going on this, please understand I'm not a meditation guru and don't focus on the spiritual aspects very much. I am absolutely not denying they exist, but there are people who handle those aspects much better than I can. Guys like Dan Dupani, who's a friend and a podcast guest. Just check back a few episodes. A really good one there. I feel a different role, and it's really to demystify meditation and get people started. So many people misunderstand what meditation is, and they're really just afraid to get started. They dismiss it before even giving it a try. And those are the people that are never going to walk into a meditation center or sign up for a course. There's just a bit of a nervousness around it. So I help reduce the friction and get people started by explaining the benefits, showing them simple ways to get started, and how to include meditation in daily rituals to help make this a habit. I try to focus almost exclusively on entrepreneurs who really are my peeps and who I think need it most. At its most simple, meditation is really about maintaining awareness on one thing, such as breathing. Everyone gets distracted and you just practice catch yourself non-judgmentally. Kind of like a kite. You let it go, you bring it back, you let it go and bring it back. And you just get better and better at noticing that your attention is drifting away and then coming right back. Just 10 minutes a day is enough. So I have a 90-minute webinar coming up where I share a ton more and where we practice some mindful meditations. All right, number 2. Entrepreneurs tend to be go-getters, never satisfied with the status quo, and it's just so easy for us to fall into a trap, seeing the gap that's in front of us rather than seeing how much and how far we've come. As Lewis Howes says, you can't focus on gratitude and be angry or sad at the same time. I build gratitude into my daily habits from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. I even integrate it with meditation and regular journaling, so I'll talk about that during the webinar. Diet. Now, exercise is pretty obvious. I think we probably all felt this. You go for a run or you get on the treadmill or something and your mind just starts exploring new parts of the brain. But the diet part really shocked me since it's usually more of a long-term effect. It's usually invisible at the beginning. Of course, everybody knows you get energy from food, but I had never really connected my own personal energy and mental clarity to the food I eat, and the difference has been absolutely enormous. I have to admit, I kind of came across this accidentally when I switched up my diet to lose a few pounds. I'm not crazy overweight, but my clothes were getting a little snug, so I checked out the 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss and started losing a bit of weight. But what blew my mind was the energy and clarity I had achieved. That really didn't make any sense to me. So I went down the rabbit hole a bit and really got into bulletproof coffee, ketogenic diets, and I am not turning back. I mean, I can go from 5:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the evening easily without losing motivation or getting tired, and the mental clarity is insane. No more fog. I go into more detail during the upcoming webinar, but the specific foods and so on. So I'll really break it down for you. Now, before I go on to number 4, I do want to share something that I noticed when I put all of these things together, which is that, each habit on its own is powerful, but it's really when you pull them together into a system that I've noticed the biggest effect. So with that in mind, let's keep going. Sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping or simply don't sleep enough, you're going to love this part. If you sleep well, stick around as well, because I want to share my personal experience shifting from late nights to waking up early. I used to be pretty proud of staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning and then getting up at 7 a.m. with the rest of the family. Well, little did I realize I was shortening my life, increasing my chances of Alzheimer's, and ruining my business with this fake hustle. There's a lot of debate around early mornings, and I fought it for years. When I finally shifted to an early to bed, early to rise approach, I magically added hours to my day and doubled my productivity. I'll give you an example. This morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. and went through my morning ritual. Bulletproof coffee, meditation, journaling during which I review my vision, write down 3 things I'm grateful for, and set my goals and intentions for the day. With the coffee kicking in, I attacked the crucial tasks. With a laser focus, I got them done by 7 a.m., and the list was actually pretty long. I'm actually going to slide things back to about 4:30 a.m. to get even more done. Like, I know there are people on both sides of the argument. They say, be yourself and do what comes naturally. Well, you know what? Most people prefer to sleep in a bit later than get up early in the middle of the night sometimes. All I can tell you is that if you manage to get up at least 2 hours before the rest of the world and attack the morning with intention, you'll get 4 more hours of work done in just 2 hours, and that's before the day even starts for the rest of the world. If you're super disciplined, the evening can work, but I found that my evenings sometimes get stolen or my level of energy is just waning by 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's harder for most to be disciplined about getting stuff done and staying focused in the evening. So, take it from a guy that's done both. Mornings win. If you can go to bed with intentions already set for the next morning, so you have no decisions to make, just execution, even better. All right, habit number 5, starting each day with a plan. I believe the key to success is to develop a success system, and an important part of the system is a daily plan that becomes automatic. The plan should incorporate the daily habits we talked about and the top things you're going to achieve that day. In fact, that is true of most elements I'm trying to teach throughout this podcast and some upcoming events. You can't expect to develop these habits by listening to a podcast. You have to take action. And the first action I would like you to take is to sign up for the upcoming webinar. Details are coming up here just in a few minutes. During these webinars, I go through each habit in more detail. In the meditation section, I actually run a short meditation with everybody. In the gratitude section, I show you how to make that a part of your habits throughout the day. In the diet section, I share a list of foods I eat and those I avoid, and explain why these choices improve energy and clarity and might even help you lose weight. I then get into the sleep section and discuss how to get a good sleep and how to shift to an early morning routine. Lastly, I show how to kick off each day with a plan that helps you truly move things forward. Now look, webinars take a long time to pull together, and I'm doing it because I know they can be a very effective way to get people going. I'm going to provide as much value as I possibly can in those 90 minutes. Hopefully the webinars are still running when you listen to this podcast, and if you find one, nab it. I limit each live webinar to 100 people so I can interact with folks live. All right, folks, thanks again for listening. I look forward to reconnecting with everyone soon. Please visit maximum-impact.co/webinar for the next available slot. And if you missed that URL, just check out the show notes. Until next time.